The EduTech guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida from Thursday, January 25th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
Hi there, my name is David Haas and I'm from Lake County Schools, and I have a partner in crime. Her name is Jayne. She's also here with us.
Who was about to kill you.
Yes, she's here for moral support, but we're part of a team that we're technology coaches, and we're actually presenting a session called Personalized PD for the People, how to bring personalized professional learning events to teachers in your district. So it's a poster session tomorrow at 11 a.m., but we're really excited about sharing our story and how districts can do this using some free digital tools.
Okay, so give us a summary. Tell us what we can expect when we show up, because our listeners, won't get to be there. But tell them give us your spiel, as they would say.
So we are really trying to promote learner agency with our teachers. How can they own their learning? And so we provide a lot of choice, and we also like their own voices heard. So we ask for guest presenters to be teachers, so we can hear what's actually going on in the classroom. So struggles that teachers might have, highlight successes. So it's a really authentic voice. It's not just the district people trying to coach. It's actually a teacher telling you real talk. So we do that through our management. So we use digital tools like Trello for our project management to get the event started. Yeah. And then we'll also have some fun. We use AR to help promote the event. So images will come to life from our promotional posters, and then we also talk about how to create those posters using Canvas or other free tools to really make sure that people know it's possible to have voice and choice in your own learning as a teacher.
That's really cool.
That is awesome.
So the AR aspect, talk about that. That's a real hot topic right now, especially at FETC.
It is. So we use it to get teachers engaged to kind of come to the event. So we use it for our promotional poster, like we said. And then we'll also kind of highlight the fact that we want teachers to spread the word about their learning. So we use it to show how they can connect on Twitter. So we do a nice little reminder. By the way, make sure you tweet out what you're learning so other people can grow from your PLN.
Yeah.
So we will do a session. We actually use kind of two. We use AR and VR. We had a session where we did virtual field trips where teachers were coming in as presenters, and we had a picture of their classroom. So other teachers could come in, use the Google Cardboard headsets, and be able to see their other teacher's classroom. So we were doing a classroom walkthrough without having to make subplans or actually go into a classroom. Yeah. So then we could have a teacher leader go through and do a walkthrough and say, this is working for me, this is how I do flexible grouping, this is how I pair up students, and kind of walk and actually see what the classroom looks like, because it's hard when it's an empty room and there aren't students available.
Sure.
Like I said, it's hard to actually make the subplans and get out to the actual location. So we're really trying to get teachers building the relationships with each other to collaborate more.
Awesome.
Wow.
Well, so it sounds like you're doing the right thing here. Give us a couple of examples. So you're using AR, you're using social media, you're using Trello, you're using everything to get this going. So a lot of tech to get them there. And then it sounds like you're not just standing there going, and now we're going to go over Word documents and how to, So give us some examples of some of the PD you're doing.
So kind of that's a great point to our vision. We had a vision for our event. We called it ILCon. It's for innovative learning. And so we really try to go off the mantra that it's not about the tech. So we didn't want technology in the title of the event at all. So in our sessions, we really built it not as the tools. So I'm a robotics person. I love robotics. We did a session, but it's how to integrate robotics in the curriculum. So rather than just using robotics for that fun day in the computer lab or just the one-time spaces, maker spaces, how can you actually use a robot to plot out like a history timeline? Or how can you have a robot actually drive through the human body and have kids identify parts of the digestive system? But basically interacting with content through the technology. So fundamentally, our event was really about how to use tech with a purpose. So you'll never see the sessions just about Trello. It's always like, how do you use Trello for project management or get kids on collaborative learning and actually prioritizing tasks? There's always a purpose tied to curriculum or standards.
That's really cool. Awesome. So since I can't ask Jayne any questions.
He's doing very well.
Okay. So robotics.
Yes.
Root. I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
Not yet.
I hear all this great stuff about it. Because I hear you talking about going through the human body and stuff like that. So it sounds like your school is like crazy, insane, on task, on target. So tell us about robotics and where it's going for you and for your classrooms.
So-
are you providing the support for the other teachers so that they can use the robotics, or how's that working out?
I'm at the district, so we help provide support for all teachers. So it's kind of mixed. We have a lot of VEX robotics groups. I actually did teach in the classroom robotics, so I was using FIRST robotics after school.
Okay.
During class, it was more about automation and production technology. So it's using like the 3D printer, a CNC, those basic steps. So we're really trying to think about how can we spread that so there's a little bit more equity for all students. It's not just after school. You don't have to pay for it. How can we immerse that into the curriculum? That's something that we're working on and looking at. It's a process. So
Cool.
It's something that we're looking at. So trying to look at different avenues, because I will be the first to say I love tech, but it doesn't have to be. It could be pipe cleaners. As long as you're creating or making something and it makes sense, it's about the design process, then I'm on board. If it's forced, if it's just about like the actual robot, then it's probably not going to be very effective. So as long as it's authentic.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And across the district, so how are you documenting this? Are you guys putting this into play as in this is going to be the new resource that we're going to use, going forward? And how's that playing out for you?
That's a really good question. I think we're still trying to find out some of those answers ourselves. But like I said, we're trying to make some more connections and really kind of make a shift for our teacher that they're not on an island, because that's usually the first thing that they say. How do I do this for my students, or how do I get connected to someone else that has all these resources? So we really try to provide resources for them, but there comes a point where we want them to talk and kind of own it themselves. We don't want to just give them the resources. So we really try to focus on that teacher collaboration. Even if you can't make it out to school, how can you do it digitally through a learning management system? How can you create groups using Google Docs? Somehow we need to collaborate as teachers to really benefit all students. Plus, if I plan one section and another teacher plans another, then we're both winning, because I have half the planning, but I get all the work from it.
That's really good.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
absolutely.
So around the district, just to give the listeners an idea and to kind of understand what's going on, what's the landscape look like technology-wise? One-to-one, BYOD, what do your teachers have? What's provided? Are you guys still building that? Are you building that in conjunction with as you move along with your PD?
So we are still kind of in a transition. One good thing is that all the teachers now have the same laptop, so we're establishing like commonality with our tech. So that's like first step.
Yeah.
And then there's some things kind of on the horizon, but the goal is really to make it, like I said, truly authentic and purposeful. So if it is a one-to-one, our students actually using it in a new way. So some of us have talked about like the SAMR model. Are we really trying to redefine education, or are we replacing a worksheet with a digital worksheet?
Right.
So we really love tech. We want to use it, but we want to make sure it's done correctly. So ideally, it'd be nice to have a one-to-one, but practicality, we still have like BYOD networks so students can bring it in, but we want to make sure there's a purpose for it.
Sure.
Well, in terms of the personalized PD and getting your teachers to sort of think outside of the sit and get, rows and columns we're going to sage on the stage, I realize a lot of that tends to lend itself well for technology type workshops, just because a lot of times that's forcing them out of their seats anyway, just because of the tech stuff. So what about the personalized PD? What does that look like for, and you may not know the answer to this or may not have the answer to this, what does that look like for the non tech integration type courses?
So that's a great question, because the session that we're doing is mainly kind of like about one event. And so that's kind of like one work stream that we have. The other one is one that I've been working on this year and I'm really excited about. And I just want to say I have a team of people with me creating this. I'm just kind of like low man on the totem pole, but we work together. So I don't ever want to say it's just my work. I had the honor of actually kind of taking it on from someone else. But it's really about, we use micro-credentials in our district. I actually create them with a lot of other people.
Awesome.
And so we do something that's a little bit different, and we have different ways to learn. So sometimes you go and see some micro-credentials that you can purchase, and it's pretty much just the one way of learning online. We offer 3 different ways. So you can learn face-to-face, where we do the face-to-face session, and then the teachers demonstrate mastery and upload their artifacts for that. They can learn all online if they want to, and they have interactive challenges, so we don't just give them the content, they kind of have to play around with it. So a lot of people say it's kind of like gamification. There's a lot of aspects of that. And then the last one is like where they get to choose whatever resources and then just demonstrate their competency. So we really think about what's going to be the best for our teachers, and it is a little bit of a struggle, like that learning curve, because we all kind of learned one way. And so now when you give that much ownership and choice, then it's like, well, what do I do? What does that look like? What do I upload? So we try to coach the teachers as much as possible, but we also want feedback. So there was like one way we did things. We got feedback that said it wasn't quite right, wasn't great, and we changed it. So they're appreciative that we try and make changes that will help them. It's not just us trying to do it to them. We're really trying to work together.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I'm thinking of a lot of the PD that I've attended, which my PD that I attend is generally tech oriented, and it's all, sit in your row and have the guy up there present, or it may not be a guy, it could be a woman, whoever is presenting, and I click this, you click that, you clicked it, that kind of a lot of the training that I get is along that lines. And so I'm thinking of like the complete polar opposite of that is that third method that you were talking about, where your district lets their educators basically design the PD they want from whatever resources they get, and then they just have to be able to, I say just have to, like it's easy, but they have to be able to demonstrate the mastery of whatever it is they chose in order to do that. I can see where that would be completely mind-blowing in terms of overwhelming and confusing and, that type of thing.
We do have kind of a platform, so we have subjects like the actual micro-credentials. We give them like growth mindset or how to increase student ownership. So we have like general pockets, but I will say we've looked to other school districts over in Wisconsin, Kettle Moraine. They actually have teachers submit their plan for creating a micro-credential, what learning activities they would do. So it's basically all teacher-driven, like you said. And so you're right, but that's where it's great, because then you start to see teacher leaders kind of step up, and it's what they need or what they think that they need that's going to help the other teachers.
Yeah, well, and if I were an educator, and what I was going for wasn't in the list already, then the process of getting that added as a micro-credential, well, that's a whole nother skill set that now I've added to my own repertoire, and hopefully once it's accepted, other educators will be like, well, I want to do that. I'd like to have that added to my list of credentials.
Exactly.
So,
and some teachers will ask, like, why micro-credentials? And to that point, if you ever have to leave the district for whatever reason, or you're talking about transfer credits, now you have basically like a statement or a certificate that says you completely and you're competent in that content or whatever it is, but then you also have the artifacts to back it up. So I kind of say it's kind of like competency ed. If you have two students going into college, what's easier to know more about the student? Is it a report card with just an A through F, or is it going to be the students mastered these standards and here's some artifacts of a portfolio of what they can do? So really trying to push that.
That is awesome.
That's what I wanted to say. And a lot of educators like to gather credentials. That's something we like. We like to keep learning, and we like to show that we did it. And micro-credentials, I did the badge summit before ISTE last year. I got to host and moderate a lot of the stuff there. So I'm really into that, and I'm excited about how that affects students also. And starting with the teachers is great, because now we've got this going on. But then you're right. If I leave and go somewhere else, I've got all these credentials attached to me that show that I can actually accomplish that. You guys have really covered the entire spectrum to make sure that you're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. Awesome. If our folks want to reach out to you, our listeners want to say, hey, we want to get in touch with these guys because they know what they're doing, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. I would say one of the easier ways would probably just be Twitter. I love being able to connect with a lot of educators all over the world. So my handle is @ILS_Dave, DAVE. Okay. Jayne, do you want to say yours?
My handle is @TCHRJMC.
That's
we finally got her to say something on it.
So I hope people start giving Jayne lots of good comments.
You're going to get so spammed. You're going to get so spammed.
Craig, say something.
Well, listen, awesome. I hope you have a great rest of FETC. We like to call it FETC, but FETC. And we're really glad you sat down.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.